Hey, Mike here with Mike's Bags, and today I am reviewing the Warden by the Bag Brokers. If you remember, not so long ago, I did a review of the Gambler by the Bag Brokers, and when I picked up a set of bags, I also picked up a set of Wardens here. I love those Gamblers. Let's dive in, break down this Wardens, and see how they perform. Design-wise, the Bag Brokers has a few different stamp options. You can get these bags with no stamp on them. You can get it with the ACO stamp like I have here, or you can get it with the TCL stamp, the Texas Cornhole League. And depending on which stamp option you go, depends on which designs and colorways you have available to you. They did have a few different colors in these. I picked the ACO stamp because I do play ACO events. They did have a few different colorways. The red I just popped. I like the red on there. Red's one of my favorite colors, so I went with the red. I think design's fine. It really fits the name, the Warden. I have no issues with it. The back is kind of that same logo, just a little larger, a little different there as well. So I like the design. I have no issues with them. I kind of checked their other designs out. They have some pretty neat, pretty interesting designs. So if you're interested, go check out their website. It's thebagbrokers.shop, I believe it is. I'll put a link in the description. Make sure you can go check them out. Take a look at the designs they have in their bags. They've got some pretty interesting, pretty fun designs for their bags. Material-wise, on this Warden, the slow side here is that Surefire slow side. It's a very popular material. Most of you have probably, if not all of you, have thrown a bag that has this material on it, because every bag company out there has a bag that, at least one bag, if not multiple, has this material on it. I call it a 5-speed material. I think the Bag Brokers listed as a 4.5 speed. So the 4.5, 5-speed range. It plays really well in dry, normal to fast board conditions. The fast side here, this is the Pro Sniper fast side. Again, very popular material. It's most of you are probably throwing a bag that has it on, because every bag company also has a bag that has this material on it as well. 9-speed, crazy fast, pushes up any board conditions, pushes through anything. So you got a 5 and 9-speed bag. This is actually the same exact material combination you find on the Buffalo Deadhead. It's the same two materials you find on a Surefire, but the Surefire uses the other side of this material. This is actually the back side of the material. So the Surefire uses the Game Changer fast side. This is that Pro Sniper, Deadhead, Viper fast side. This is just the back side of that Game Changer material. So same materials, just to flip over the fast side. Template-wise, this is a medium to full template on here, or medium to large, I'd say. It's probably a medium template, but it's a very thin bag, which makes it really feel and play larger, because it's a pretty floppy bag as well. So I'm going to call it a larger template bag, because that's just how it feels to me. It's definitely a thin bag, so it's not a lot. I mean, there's not a lot of fill in here. You've got a lot of flop to it. So if you don't like floppy bags, probably not a bag you want to check out. But I used to love one of my favorite bags that I used to throw all the time was the Typhoons. I got a set of Typhoons. I brought them up here with me. A set of 21, 22 stamp Typhoons. I threw these bags for the longest time. I actually love these bags, and these are really loose, really floppy bags. Very similar to the feel of this bag. Yeah, again, same materials, just this has the reverse side of the fast side of this Typhoon on it. But the feel is a lot alike. Now this has a mixed fill in it. The Warden, the Bag Brokers use a mixed fill, same as the Gambler. It has a little bit of mix of small beads with some small disc in here. I'm pretty sure the Reynolds bag is pretty much a bead fill. I'm pretty sure it's pretty much all small bead fill, if I remember correctly, in this. So you kind of take this as maybe a hybrid of the Typhoon and the Surefire, right? Surefire is a flat disc fill. This has the bead fill. You kind of mix those together to get that mixed fill in here, which I prefer a mixed fill, honestly. The beads are small enough that in the hand feel, you don't really feel them. You don't feel those big clunky beads because they're small enough. It still gives you a nice fluid hand feel. You get a 100% disc fill on it. It still lands pretty softly. It doesn't have as much kick as you would, or as much bounce you would as you would on a full bead fill bag. But that bead, those extra beads, give it a little bit more of that hole friendliness, a little more of that ability to drip or melt in the hole that you don't always get with that flat disc fill. So I like a mixed fill. It's my favorite fill in bags. I really love the fill that the Bag Brokers using this bag. It plays wonderfully, and I'll get into that in a moment. I talk about playability. But yeah, I love the fill. I actually love the flop. As I've done more and more of these reviews, I've kind of transitioned to liking more of those medium template bags, medium fill bags. But every now and then I get a bag like this, and it just reminds me how much I used to love throwing those large floppy bags. And that's what this is. Really brought back that Typhoon feeling for me, and I really just had a blast throwing this bag. One more thing I'll also mention as well is this bag, just like the Gambler, has that stitching, that kind of exposed stitching along the seams here. And from my last video, I found that there's really no function to this. It's more of a decorative design. There's really nothing that this is doing other than just for show and decorative nature. So it's just there. There's nothing wrong with it. If you do get these bags and you see the stitching, it's not the seams coming apart. That is designed to be there. So I just want to make you aware of that. Now, playability on this bag. This is a really versatile bag because you can do a lot with it, which is why this slow side material is so popular, because you can. especially on normal, dry, to fast boards. You can just run bags and hold it long, put them in bag after bag after bag. The floppiness of this bag makes this bag very forgiving. I talk about this from time to time, about the landing zone you have on your, when you're on the bags that you have. And this one has a pretty wide landing zone because it's a floppy bag. That floppy bag, as it goes by the hole, as long as you can dip that corner in, it's going to catch the hole, spin around, and come right back in and melt in. And this bag really does that well. Now, one of the knocks on this Surefire material on the slow side here is that sometimes it does want to hang on the hole. So sometimes I get the bags to catch and it would spin, but they would hang there. When these bags hang there, they can be a little difficult to collect. Now, having the mixed fill helps maybe a little bit in this as opposed to just that full disc fill. But this material does tend to want to, this Surefire material is not the most hole-friendly material. Now, if you get on faster boards, they don't hang as much. As the board starts slowing down a little bit, they start hanging more and more. You get to those damp, sticky, humid conditions, and not only does the bags hang, they hardly ever move. Like this slow side just doesn't move. So, so there's basically three knocks. I'm not talking about here real quick. The fact they hang on the hole, the fact that it doesn't play in humidity, and it will sometimes want to kick. So if you don't have a flat back, it's going to kick on you a little bit. Although the kick is pretty consistent, so if it is kicking, as long as you're throwing a consistent tilt to your bag, you can play that kick all day long without any issues whatsoever. But just make aware of that. And when I talk about the hole friendliness of this material, like people will get, I get comments back saying, "Oh, my Surefires are hole friendly. All my bags are hole friendly." I'm not saying the bag is not hole friendly. This bag will melt in the hole, and you'll see from his videos that sometimes it just kind of spins and it'll drip in the hole. But what happens is when that bag hangs on the side of the hole, that's when to me that's hole friendliness. When a bag's hanging on the side or the back of the hole, and that's where I determine hole friendliness. Because if that bag if you can just throw another bag and just the beating on the board, the bounce of the board, the vibrations bring this bag back in, that's a hole friendly bag. This material doesn't do that. You really have to kind of make sure you're catching this material, be a little more aggressive. It's on the side. You got to kind of come with a cut and grab it and pull it in. So you got to be a little more intentional when this bag is hanging to make sure you get it. Otherwise, you will leave a bag hanging there because you can get around these pretty easily and just, keep hitting as you go in bag after bag after bag. But if you're not actually going after the bag, there's a good chance you're not going to collect it. The other thing I will mention on these bags, because they are a looser, floppier bag, sometimes when you go after those bags, they will hit and they will bunch, and you'll have two bags sitting there. Now, they don't really clog the hole because they are a pretty loose bag. They're not going to clog it up as much, but they do bunch, which means if it's your last bag, you got to be careful of that. If you've got another bag behind it, you flip for a fast side and bring your next bag in. You at least knock those two in. Maybe if they're hard enough, you'll take this with it and take all three of them in. I didn't have a problem with them clogging and not going in, but I did have a time or two where they did bunch. So just be aware of that. The other thing I will say about the floppy bags I mentioned before is collectability. This material is controllable enough. You can slow it down. You can throw blocks. You can put your blocks up there. It makes a great blocker. It takes a lot of real estate on the board. It makes a wonderful blocker. And it's just sticky enough that it will cause your opponent's bags, if they don't hit it right, to kick off. The one problem I have is when you go to collect the bag like this is if you're just clicking the corner, it's going to accordion up, bunch up, and you're going to leave that blocker there or bully the blocker out of the way. If you've got to collect this bag, you've got to come more towards the middle and make sure you get enough of this of your collect bag hitting the blocker bag to push and take them both in. They're collectible and you can push them and you can do them and they can grab each other pretty well and pull them in. You just got to be more intentional about when you're going after those blocks to make sure you get them. If you're just trying to clip a corner, you're going to miss it and leave it there. Now, it also makes it wonderful for get around bags. If you're playing against an opponent who likes to throw sticky bags and they've got a blocker up there and you come with your bag, you can just kind of step out and come right into their bag, maybe even bully it out of the way and get your bag around and leave their bag down. So a bag like this is wonderful for getting around. And that's where, to me, I like this type of bag. Is not really playing that dirty style game with this, but running bags in the hole. And if my opponent throws a blocker, I could just kind of get around it. You can also cut this material so you can play cut shots with it. Now, this bag is pretty floppy, so it's not going to be a great bag for rolling. If you're just an average, below average roll bag player, you're not going to roll this bag. If you're, above average, advanced roll bag player, again, you can roll any bag, so that's not going to matter to you. But for most of us, we're not rolling this bag very well. But you can throw cut shots. You can definitely throw airmails. This floppiness of this bag, you hit an airmail on the lip, it's going to wrap around and probably come back in, as opposed to as a fuller bag to want to hit and balance. This doesn't balance. It almost wraps and brings it right back into it. So playability in the bag, I love the way it plays. I had a blast throwing it. It's really a fun bag to play. It even plays, to me, it plays even better in competition. Like this open board, it shows well, but when you get in competition and you're playing against somebody and there are other bags on the board, that's where this bag can really squeeze for tight spots, can spin around bags, can do a lot of things to get to the hole and leave your opponent's bag sitting there. So I actually had a blast throwing it. It's a really fun bag. Availability in this bag, the Bag Brokers has a website. It's thebagbrokers.shop. Again, I'll put a link in the description so you can go check it out. The bags run, if I remember right, they're like $70 for a set. These were $70 for the set. I can't remember if the ACO stamp for anyway, but I'm pretty sure I paid $70 for these, which is really more than reasonable. It's on the lower end there. You don't have to pay shipping on top of that, but it's at the low end of bag prices. Very affordable, very reasonable. You're getting a high quality bag for that. I recommend checking them out. In fact, I want to check out more of their bags because their prices are so great and the bags play wonderfully. So for the 2 bags I had in the Gambler and the Warden, I absolutely love the way they play, and I think you will too. So definitely go check them out, thebagbrokers.shop, and take a look at the Warden, take a look at the Gambler. If you've thrown some of their bags, let me know. I'm curious about some of the bags. If you have another bag that's one of your favorites or you like, drop a comment down below. Let me know what it is so I'll know which bag to go pick up next from them. So thank you guys so much for the support. Thanks for watching.